What the hell are we supposed to use, man? Harsh language?
Hey now.
What up?
What's going on, gentlemen? And what's going on the internet? Welcome back to the show. This is episode number 139, and we got a good one today. I'm trying to stop saying that so much because I'm going to just say it every episode. It's going to lose its meaning, but we really do.
I mean, it's always going to be a good one with us, so it's not fake news.
That's facts. This one especially, it didn't really dawn on me how egregious it is that you haven't seen Raiders of the Lost Ark. I know we say it a lot to you, but I feel like this is one of the like more major incidents. This and probably Star Wars, maybe, I don't know, maybe Jaws too. But you
guys might be a little disappointed in me, so stay tuned for that if you're watching, listening.
Well, folks, Marvin hasn't watched Raiders of the Lost Ark. We decided to make him watch it this month, so that'll be later in the show. I guess he hated it, so that'll be a fun conversation. How was everybody's week?
Good.
It was cool.
Yeah.
I had a family reunion this weekend. Yeah.
Oh, shit, another one?
Nice.
Another one.
Didn't you have one like when you first moved there? I thought it was a reunion.
No.
Maybe it's just like a cookout or some shit. You did some sort of party, but maybe you had a housewarming.
Housewarming me. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that was like a couple weeks ago. I had a housewarming. Yeah.
Yeah. No, for some reason I thought you had like an actual reunion. But anyway, that's cool. Where people come from like all over the place.
Yeah.
Who planned that?
It was my dad's side of the family, so most of the people are kind of stay relatively close-ish.
Right.
But yeah, it was a lot of people there. It was cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun.
Good food?
It was good. Pretty good. Could have been better. It was catered from this place. And it's actually this local spot. I forgot what the other place was called, but the son runs it now. Like the dad passed away. The son runs it now, and it's not as good.
Nice.
It's like this like fried chicken, pulled pork. Well, we call it barbecue down here. You know what I'm saying?
I feel you.
One of those type of spots.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Sounds good.
It was cool though. It was good.
Was there cornbread?
Yes. Hush puppies.
Ooh.
You know, that's what we do down here, baby. Hush
there
puppies
used to be a place. I can't remember the name of it. It was in our local mall, and it was like the only place to get it. And they had like fish and chips and hush puppies.
Classic.
But
Can't go wrong.
I can't remember the franchise, but it was fucking delicious.
Apple fritters for dessert.
Was that like apple pie?
No, they're like hush puppies. Little balls of like lemon and apple and powdered sugar. Just a sweet little donut, and you pop in your mouth. Delicious.
Oh, like a Zeppeli kinda?
I don't know what that is.
Zeppelin? Led Zeppelin?
You guys are some fucking non-New York fucking... Jesus.
Zeppeli, bro?
You never seen a Zeppeli from a fucking pizzeria?
It's fucking like a fucking calzone?
No, it's this on my screen. It's like a ball of fried dough. It's like a pastry, and they put powdered sugar on it.
Oh.
Yeah, but it's got...
this fried
apple and
fritter.
lemon.
Okay, so same thing.
No, I haven't had that, but I've had like a funnel cake. It's kind of like that.
Funnel cake is wet though, I think, right?
No.
No?
Funnel cake is deep fried and then powdered sugar.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, you can get toppings on it, but yeah.
Yeah. All right. So Zeppelis are fritters. We just call it something different here in civilization. That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that looks just like a hush
Call them
puppy.
fritters in the South.
No, but hush puppies are different though. Hush puppies.
There's different kinds.
Hush puppies.
Well, yeah.
Are
savory.
Kinds.
It's a savory fritter.
It's the same. Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It looks the same though. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Zeppelis, the key characteristic, they're very light and like airy. Very puffy.
Hush puppies can be real thick.
Yes.
Yeah. Apple fritters are dense.
Oh,
okay.
So
Well,
it's more
cool.
like a donut then.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we're on the same page.
Yeah.
I can't believe you haven't had Zeppelis. You should, if you could find a spot. They're delicious. Matter of fact, when I was a kid, we used to hang out by this local pizzeria. There was like a big parking lot like behind it, and we used to just hang out back there and like smoke and drink and like do all cool kid stuff. But we hung out there every fucking night, and the owner of the pizzeria, Mario was his name. He was like Mario, yeah, Mario.
Mary.
He knew who we were, so he was cool with us because we would hang out and go inside and get a drink or get a couple slices. We were just like in and out all night long.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the night, with leftover food, he would just like give it to us, like
nice.
all the extra pies, and he would make us zeppelis and like all this shit, and it was fucking delicious.
Nice.
Mario, shout out to my boy, good guy.
Yeah.
We actually got in trouble. He saved us one time because cars in that parking lot were being broken into.
Oh.
There was like a rash of robberies in the parking lot. And of course, everybody who lived in the area just naturally thought it was us because we always hung out there. And the cops were questioning us, and
Wow.
Mario vouched for us. He was like, no, I know these kids. They're good kids. That's right, Marvin. I was a good guy back then. Well, that's cool.
It's a good business owner. Shout out Mario.
Yep.
Shout out Mario.
Sounds like a fun family get-together you had there. I did a little bit of watching, Dusty. I took your advice. I watched Smoke.
Oh, nice.
The
You like it
first-
so far?
Yeah, the first 4 episodes were out, and then the fifth one just came out the other day, or maybe the
Right.
first 3 were out, and the fourth one I can't remember. But yeah, I watched all of them. It's a good show.
Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that it gives up. I don't know how much of it you've watched. How much have you watched?
I'm caught up to it. Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that it just like gives up the sort of mystery, I guess, very quickly.
It kind of does that in the trailers.
Does it?
When I watched the trailer and I was like, well, it's pretty obvious that, that person is the person.
Those people, both of them, like you follow both of them actively. And so I looked it up, though. It's based on an actual real story of a retired firefighter who became an arsonist, I guess.
Yeah.
So
wait, arsonist or arson investigator?
It's about a guy who
both.
became an arson investigator, but was also an arsonist. Like he was committing the arsons. Yeah.
Flip flop roller coaster.
Hey,
know if you want to do right
that's
or
the
wrong.
theme to Backdraft. Have you ever seen that one, Marvin?
Back what?
Backdraft. Kurt Russell, classic.
Ooh,
No.
gosh.
Good movie. That movie's not
Spoiler
good,
alert.
actually.
I don't know if we could make it's not that bad. Come on. That's
Yeah, but
Russell and one of the brothers, one of the Baldwin
it's
brothers.
William Baldwin.
Yeah.
Robert
Billy.
De Niro's in that. Donald Sutherland, Scott Glenn's got a big cast. I mean, it's a good movie. It's just a little cheesy, but it is what it is.
Sure. Most movies back then were a little cheesy.
Yeah. So I watched Smoke. I also watched last night. I watched Karate Kid Legacy. Had you watched that yet, Dusty?
I've seen it, yes. The Extra Branch.
It's like one of the worst movies I think I've ever seen. But at the same time, I didn't really find it that bad. Like it was entertaining, I guess. It just was coming off of Cobra Kai, which was so good and so nostalgic for all the right reasons. This had none of that. This was
just felt like another Karate Kid.
It was just a Karate Kid by name only. And
That's how I felt about the new Jurassic World.
Yeah.
Just another dinosaur movie.
And it was Karate Kid by name alone, and the fact that there is karate in it that happens, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Like Ralph Macchio being in it was completely and utterly pointless. He's in the movie for 18 seconds. Has a total, I think, of maybe I don't know, 15 lines of dialogue over the course of a minute probably total. Completely worthless to be in the movie. It was so weird. And then I remember when the movie was coming out that they were pretty upfront about the fact that this was not at all connected to Cobra Kai.
Mm-hmm.
And Cobra Kai was ending. We all knew that the last season was coming out. And so why is Johnny Lawrence just randomly in the end of the movie connecting it clearly to Cobra Kai?
Yeah, I don't know.
That must have been an addition after the fact. That must have been a reshoot or an addition that they added at the last minute or something. Because I distinctly remember them saying no, this is, because I remember Ralph Macchio saying no, this is its own thing. This has nothing to do with Cobra Kai.
Well, I mean, all those characters are attached to the movie universe anyway. So, I mean, it could just be like, hey, do you want to be in this and get a paycheck? Sure, why not?
I think it was probably to leave the door open to some future things.
Right.
Cobra Kai was great. This was not great.
Mm-hmm.
It was just okay. No. Very, very okay movie. Borderline okay. About you, Dusty, you been watching anything this week or what?
I sat down, was it yesterday, the day before yesterday, and watched the trilogy of Indiana Jones, the original trilogy, just so that I could. I sat down to watch the first one, and I had some time while I was doing some other things. I put the other two on. I didn't watch them as much, but they were on.
Well, yeah, I was saying
that. Yeah, just watching the regular stuff. Resident Alien feels like it's coming to an end, sadly. I don't know, they're going down a weird storyline right now.
You know what? I thought the same thing, actually. Yeah. I looked it up after I watched this last episode. I was like, is it getting a season 5 or whatever the next season would be? Because I didn't remember them announcing a finale, but this season does feel like finale-ish.
Yeah, it's got that feel. Of course, they could throw, some sort of crazy, twist at the end and start it right back up.
It's got that feel because of Asta's like story arc.
Yes.
So I don't know if maybe they're like writing her off, like maybe she wants to not be on the show anymore. I don't know. I wonder where they're going with it, but it does have.
I mean, even Alan's story. I don't know. Yeah, because I watched the last episode, so never mind. I don't.
No, I watched
whether or not he still has a soul will be interesting.
Yeah. It does have this feeling of finality to it for sure, but
yeah, because before I watched the last episode, I was like, he's gonna want to stay human because he's got a soul now and he feels stuff. Like, I thought that, like, and then Asta storyline, I was like, it feels like to me, but then, he got his juice back. So
I have a feeling if the show does end, he's gonna go back home and take Asta with him to like show her like space and stuff. Because her whole story arc now, she's never left Colorado.
Never. Yeah, had so many chances to leave and never did. Yeah. So when I rewatched Poor Things last night, Christina had a friend over, and Christina was really, really high on that movie, and we reviewed that. And, she and her friend watched it. I was in the kitchen cooking, but I was kind of watching it. But they were laughing it up through the whole thing. They loved it. So
it's a great movie.
It is. So yeah. Other than that, Foundation. Christina finally caught up, so we're into season 3 now, which it's really good. Highly recommend. So yeah.
Hey, you Marvin?
Nothing.
Oh man, what have I been watching? Just one thing really. That is Ted Lasso.
Nice. How you been liking that?
Oh, it's great. It actually might be better than Shrinking.
Ooh.
To me, I've just finished the 2nd season. So I haven't started the 3rd season yet, but I love this show. It's great.
Yeah, I feel Ted's a little more feel good than Shrinking. Shrinking's feel good sometimes, but it's also very
Shrinking is feel good through feeling bad.
Feel bad. Yeah.
It uses feeling terrible as a vehicle to then feel good. Because that's what that show's about. It's about like healing, right?
Yeah.
Ted Lasso's not really about that. Yeah, it is, but Ted Lasso's
because the whole 2nd season is like the therapy arc.
It is totally. It's totally about that too, but not as in your face as Shrinking. Shrinking, like that's the whole premise. I think Ted Lasso is more just about this is a guy who's purely good just for the sake of it, kind of like Superman. He's just like a nice dude, right? And like surrounded by kind of assholes a lot of the time. And
just having to deal with other people's shit while he's trying to be the nice guy that he is.
And season 2 is more of like a deeper analysis into him as a person and what's affecting him, rather than the whole premise being about like depression and like healing from that. But I definitely understand the comparisons. I don't know which one I like better. Good. I've never even thought about it actually.
It's a tough one.
It is tough. They're both really good shows.
It'll be Shrinking for me, I think, if the next season is what I think it's going to be, because Michael J. Fox going on to work with
that's right,
Harrison Ford on the problem of
I didn't even think that was going to be the connection.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. I'm glad you're liking Lasso.
Well, Harrison's character is getting Parkinson's in the show, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I didn't even make that connection when they announced Michael J. Fox was coming on. Anything else you've been watching, Marvin?
Yeah.
No, that's it. That's all I've been watching.
I watched Superman again last night. I'm on about number 4, I think.
Nice.
August 26th.
Yeah, I saw that.
What's that?
That's when it's coming out digital.
Damn, it's a long ways away.
Yeah, but also not long enough. I feel like they got to give movies more room to breathe in theaters. I feel like,
man, Marvin, we used to have to wait like 6 to 8 months.
I know,
for a movie to hit VHS.
I feel like the whole,
that's insane.
I feel like the whole landscape now of Hollywood is like make a movie almost like a pump and dump. Like you just try, like the whole goal is to make as much money as you can in like the first couple of weeks and then just release it to digital, which is fucking crazy. And like, that's the whole narrative online too, of like the whole measure of a movie is now, at least on Twitter, like how much it earned at the box office. Like who fucking cares?
Right.
The Snyder fucking cultists are using that as like a fake metric of its success. Like, yeah, people like it, but it has to make like $700 billion to order to be a success. And like, they just keep moving the goalposts about like, well, if you take into account like all of the DCEU failing, they have to earn $1 trillion. Otherwise this movie was a complete failure. Like it's such a fucking asinine conversation. But I did see one really incredible description of Superman that has stuck with me over the week since we actually talked about it. And it's that Superman is the Barbie movie for men. Because Barbie, I know Marvin, you didn't really care for Barbie, or you didn't see it in that way, or maybe all of us didn't.
No, I like Barbie.
Well, we all liked it, but we didn't feel like the impact of it that women did.
Oh, sure.
It had like a very specific woman-coded message, and it was very empowering, and not just empowering, but there was like a lot of like stuff in it that was specifically targeted at women in a positive way. And so people framing the Superman movie as that for men, I think is awesome, because like one of the biggest problems we have culturally now is this like idea of what masculinity means from people like Andrew Tate and like that ilk, these podcasters and stuff, of like, oh, masculinity is about like, being tough and fucking going back to like this really old school, like beat your wife fucking form of masculinity. And like this movie sort of is like kind of teaching maybe young guys who are naive or like don't have any other, it sounds stupid to even say that people need to be taught this, but people do because we're dumb and influenced by a lot of different shitty things. But like Superman could be teaching dudes like kindness is the ultimate form of masculinity, right? And it's funny, before I saw that like comparison, I posted a meme on Instagram of Superman just like standing there with his arms folded, and the caption was like the masculine urge to be kind or something like that. And so I don't know, I thought that was really funny. But yeah, I've watched it for like a 4th time. It's still really good.
It is.
It finally clicked into me though, like why a lot of people were struggling with the way the movie kind of like drops you into the middle of the plot, right? Because I never really even noticed it, to be honest with you. Like I didn't find any issue with it, but it's like one of the things that comes up the most of like, oh man, like it doesn't feel like there's any story, there's no real plot, like there's nothing going on. It's just like a series of like stitched together action sequences, kind of.
Yeah.
I don't feel that that's what it is. That's like the conversation around it. I think there's a lot of character building moments and stuff, but it feels like the 3rd act of a 6-hour movie. Like the whole movie is so fast paced and energetic that it feels like the 3rd act of like a normally structured narrative.
Yeah, there was no downtime, but it made for a pretty interesting watch for the theater experience. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. What were you gonna say, Dusty?
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels like you go into a comic book store and pick up a random Superman comic and start reading it. That's what it felt like to me. You don't have, it's not issue number 1. It's not the final issue. It's just like right in the middle of the story. You're Superman 68 or 457 or whatever. You're just picking it up and stuff happens. Right. You're like, oh, this is a cool story. And maybe now I want to read some more. So it was very much a comic book movie for me. And I think people complaining about it maybe have never read a comic book. So I don't know.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like that. And coincidentally, I think that's one of the reasons why. I think we'll obviously get to it later, but I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is structurally very similar to Superman, or vice versa. Superman's very structurally similar to Raiders, in that. Well, we'll get to it later, but yeah. So I watched that again. Still cried.
It's funny you mentioned the whole Barbie Superman narrative, because when Christina was watching the movie last night with a friend, she was saying that Poor Things actually was more of an influence for her as a movie watcher than Barbie was. So.
Well, we actually said that when we Marvin said it specifically. It's like the R-rated Barbie.
No, I said it's the real Barbie. Poor Things is the real Barbie.
The real Barbie.
Yeah. The better Barbie. Something like that.
BB, better Barbie.
I agree.
Yeah. So that's been
as
our
far as
weeks.
the Superman thing, I mean, it makes you want to watch it again. Like, I think he did it that way on purpose. Like, there's so much going on. You kind of have to watch it more than once to really grasp like all the thing that's happening. Like, you can't just, at least for me, I can't wait to watch it again because it was just so much happening. I didn't have time to think about what I had just saw before. It was kind of on to the next scene. So
right. It's funny too, because I
can see how that could be intimidating for people too.
Yeah, I think it's just jarring. I think it's just jarring when people expect you expect a movie to be structured a very specific way, where it's like you get the presentation of like what we're watching, what's happening, who these people are. Then it moves into like the peak, right? And then you go off and you're in the third act, which is usually in comic book movies very fast-paced, very active, very action-packed. This whole movie was fast-paced and action-packed with a few moments of downtime that kind of like take it back and tell you to chill out. So, yeah, like Dusty said, it's just structured very much like a comic book. It does, like, which is what I liked about it. And it was funny too, because watching James Gunn's interview with Happy, Sad, Confused, he was like the opening text was like a last-minute decision. He said it was one of the things that they kind of like argued about. Not argued, but him and like some of the producers and stuff, like they had a few points of contention on the movie, and that was one of them, of like, we need some sort of like exposition. And he was like, I don't know if we do, like just here, like I don't, again, like Dusty said, I don't need it. I don't know why. I get why some people do, but I think maybe you even said it, Marvin, in our review of like, you don't need to know who Mr. Terrific is. He's there. He has powers, or he's smart. You get that he's smart.
Yeah.
Do you want to know more about him? Cool. Go pick up a comic book or wait for his shit to come out. Like, you don't need his narrative arc to be fulfilled in one single movie or even begin in this movie. He's just there because he's there. That's it. Yep. So I don't know. I liked it. I think it was interesting. It was a nice departure from like the standard structured movie, but you know, whatever. Not for everybody, but it's doing well. So that's all that matters. And we liked it, which is even more so all that matters. What's going on this week in the news, Dusty? Let's get into the news, folks. Dusty was a newsman, and he's still doing it for us here. He retired for a little bit. He did video game journalism, but now he does muckraking for the podcast. Always coming in hot.
We've got Emmy nominations.
Oh, yeah. Apple cleaning house, right? Yeah. Well, at least with nominations. They haven't won anything.
Setting records.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's see. I didn't take notes for this because I didn't think I was going to be here in time. We can go through the list.
He half-assed the news, folks. Unbelievable.
Just the Emmy list. Best drama series, Andor's on there. Last of Us is on there. The Pit's on there. Slow Horse is on there. That's the one you guys are sleeping on. That's a great show.
Slow Horse. Oh, shit.
Yep.
Haven't heard of that one.
Andor's
going to win,
Gary
though,
Oldman. The White Lotus is on there, which I hear is good. But comedy series, The Bear, still raking in those comedy noms. I have not watched the new season. Hacks, good. Abbott Elementary, Shrinking's up there. The Studio's up there. Only Murders in the Building also up there. What We Do in the Shadows, another one. Studio
might actually win over all of those.
I think the Studio is going to do really, really well.
Yeah.
Because I think that show also is like for Hollywood insiders. You know what I mean?
Right. They're going to love that shit.
which rightfully so. It was a great show.
Yep.
You finished. Oh yeah, we did talk about it. I think Andor will probably clean house. Probably, I think Severance will probably do quite well as well.
Yep.
All the, you know the ones that will do well.
Lots of noms. So we'll keep track and I don't know, see what happens when the Emmys come around, and we got awards at the end of the year, but should be some good noms. Yeah,
we've had some really good shows. Like we're kind of eating good in terms of shows these days. There was like that year or two where it was looking a little iffy, looking a little grim, but
yeah, well, we had the strikes and whatnot, so there was few and far between for stuff too.
Dare I say it? We might be back officially now. Like now, I feel comfortable saying it. You know, Shrinking's gonna get some. I'm sure got some noms, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. They got 7.
That's big.
Yeah. Severance got the most, obviously.
Right.
27.
Right.
But the studio got 23, which is close.
That's crazy. Studio is really, really good. Like to chalk it up as just like a comedy, it's like kind of not accurate. Like it is a comedy, but just a comedy it is not. It's very, very smart, I think.
Yeah.
I saw a news article about the director of Andor being a little bit upset. Obviously happy with all the nominations that it got, but you know, some of the actors, he's like, they should have been up for nominations.
That's fair.
The actors didn't get nominated for anything?
Not everybody from the show can get nominated, you know. They can only make so many nominations. And
it's fair.
You can't.
Yeah.
So, it'd be interesting to see if there was a show so good that like 4 or 5 people got a nod in one category for one show. Like best actor in, you know, for Severance, you know, if they swept it. But anywho, we were just talking about it. Superman, it hits VOD on August 26th. This is conforming to the Warner Brothers' new 45-day theatrical window. They're up to 406 million globally, 235 million domestically. Apparently struggling a bit internationally. It's only 171 million.
Yeah.
Still could hit $1 billion. But there was a movie in China that was doing huge. Ninja 2 is almost up to $2 billion, which is crazy. The first movie is great. This is a Chinese proverb. It's about yin yang, good and evil kind of twist, but a really good animated movie. I've seen the first one. I've been waiting for the second one to hit digital with proper English subtitles or, dubs. But we do actually have $1 billion movie from the U.S. though. Lilo and Stitch live action crossed the mark.
Right.
Where it did it. So
I think we
got our first $1 billion movie. It's a good one.
Like the money that Superman's making is nothing to fucking flinch at, you know?
No.
But people are like using fucking dumbass cultists are using like Jurassic World Rebirth as like a measuring stick. Like it's not even fucking close to Jurassic World. It's like Jurassic World is a much more digestible franchise. Think of the landscape that Superman is coming into. General audiences already believe that DC sucks dick because of Zack Snyder. Okay. So they already expect it to be probably bad because of DC's recent output. B, they probably expect it to be bad because of Marvel's recent output. Okay. And the biggest probably one that is drawing some people away from it is the fact that they're trained by Marvel to think that they have to have seen something else.
Possible.
To understand what's going on.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's fair to blame Zack Snyder for. I feel like there's always been that Marvel versus DC divide. And I think people considered Marvel to be superior way before Zack Snyder.
In comic books, not really.
No, I'm saying movies.
In movies.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Batman would...
DC,
it's hard to say,
has always excelled at the animated movies.
Yes.
And Marvel has excelled at the live action movies. Now, Marvel's earlier live action movies, you had Spider-Man, and that was really... There weren't a whole lot. You had the... what's his name? From the Beach show. Hasselhoff was in a Nick Fury movie, in an Avengers Nick Fury movie.
Beach show.
Yeah, if you're old enough, you remember. But yeah, I mean, you had Spider-Man, you had Blade. Marvel had made good live action movies, and DC really. You had the Batman movies, but and the Supermans, but other than that, they really didn't have a whole lot. So
Baywatch,
yeah,
Dusty,
Baywatch. Yeah. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's hard to really say film-wise because really DC, up until Zack Snyder came in, was only making Batman content. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But yes, I think Marvel is generally considered like the gold standard. Not really. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to say because like The Dark Knight's like one of the best movies of all time, and people know that it is. Like,
yeah.
So, but yeah, I don't know. I just think there were a couple things fighting against Superman that aren't fighting against Jurassic World. Like Jurassic World is free and easy to go in and just watch, turn your brain off. Superman, I think people probably think it requires a little bit more. So, that's not a way to like measure its success, but it is still doing well. It's like not to say that it's doing bad.
When did the Jurassic World come out?
Like a week or two
like
before.
A week prior.
Yeah.
A week prior.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I would think Superman would be doing better, so I am kind of shocked that it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it's struggling internationally. Maybe because of all the rhetoric in the news headlines the week or two before it came out about it's all political.
That could be too, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's $400 million in 2 weeks is nothing,
Right. It's crazy, yeah.
Complain about, and it's on pace to probably hit $1 billion in 45 days, but we'll see. It's going to struggle if it doesn't pick up internationally because domestically you can only watch it so many times, and after a month, 30 days, your last 2 weeks aren't going to get as much.
Right.
Yeah.
Then we got the Captain Planet announcement.
Another live action.
How do you feel about this one, Dan?
Well.
Series. Wow.
Yeah, I mean.
This is Greg Berlanti. He did all the CW Arrowverse and Green
and Superman and Lois. No, Marvin. He did Superman and Lois. Oh
okay.
yeah. Greg Berlanti knows his shit. I just wonder if I don't know. I don't know. I would be excited for it. I liked the animated show. I loved Captain Planet. But in a world where like hoggish Greedley is running our government in every way, shape, and form. I don't know how this will resonate with modern audiences, so we'll see.
It's woke.
It's definitely woke as fuck. Yeah, it's woke.
I mean, that's what are we? Yeah, are we going to have people on one side claiming it's just going to be a bunch of there's a team of eco terrorists that are blowing up corporate buildings because they're not paying their carbon taxes, or are we actually going to be talking about like not polluting the world?
Captain Planet. Look at this guy.
But it was a good cartoon back in the day.
This is the guy who runs our government. Hoggish Greedley. There he is.
Great name.
Yeah. But like, I mean, I don't know if the show just stays on message. Like stop polluting, stop being a scumbag. Like the planet's suffering because of our bullshit.
Well, if it was going to be real, it would say how much the American military is polluting the world, but
and the American farming and agricultural practices and all that good stuff. I don't know. We'll see. This says
yeah, Glenn Powell was co-writing it. It was originally set up for Paramount in 2016.
Glenn Powell's playing
Glenn Powell is co-writing?
He was co-writing and wanted to be involved, but he remained passionate about the Top Gun Maverick role, so there's no news on it now that Warner Brothers has it, I think.
Leonardo DiCaprio is on board.
Yeah, his production company is on board, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it'll be good. We'll see. It is.
Glenn Powell knows how to write.
A lot of actors moonlight as writers, Marvin.
Wow.
Sometimes even directors.
I mean,
crazy.
Taylor Sheridan was just an actor before he got fired from Sons of Anarchy and decided to write his own shit.
That's fair.
I think that this could be good, but also it's on Netflix, and Netflix doesn't make good things. So yeah. Also, one of the biggest issues I had with Karate Kid was that it looked like a show. Didn't look like a movie at all. Like it looked like it was filmed on a fucking television show set. It was very, very small scale, or something that took place in New York. I see we got some Kevin Feige news, like you said.
Kevin Feige is in the news all week long. So much news. I don't know. Like we could talk about it for an hour, but
it was
basically
just touch
on a few of the finer points.
He was basically playing PR for his bosses. Is essentially what I got out of that interview.
Well, he had a sit down with the press at Marvel's Burbank headquarters this week. He wanted to talk Fantastic Four's third attempt on the big screen, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this. Because there's also some news about recasting, in which we've talked about a lot on this show. But as far as Fantastic Four goes, he goes, why Fantastic Four? Because it's Marvel's first family. It's in the history of our characters. They deserve to be A-listers. They were A-listers in the comics. Every crossover movie we've made in the Infinity Saga, Civil War leading to Infinity War and Endgame, which is really the Infinity Saga from the comics, the Fantastic Four were huge players in those comics, and obviously we couldn't do that then. And a little bit of a spoiler, because we basically already knew this, but he goes on to say, this movie it's a no homework required. Go see the movie. It's literally not connected to anything that was made before. So this, we kind of knew that it was going to be like a pocket universe or whatever it was.
Please go see our movie. Please.
Please.
Forget all the dog shit since Endgame. Just go and see it. I gotta say,
go ahead. He's also talking about Dr. Doom and his future plans with Marvel, given that his contract's up in 2 years. And he said, which was interesting, he said, we had started talking about Dr. Doom even before we officially pivoted from Kang.
Yeah, that's
in fact,
bullshit.
I had started talking with RDJ about his audacious idea before Ant-Man 3 even came out, is what he
I
says.
don't believe that for a second. That is PR at its finest, because everybody is criticizing the choice to put Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. It is clearly a desperate attempt to revive the goodwill and be like, hey, here's our stars again. Like, that's clearly what it is. He also said that something just still in my fucking eye. He also said that Doomsday is going to be like a reboot of the franchise, essentially. So,
yeah. I don't know if I believe this either, because no, I'm saying that they started talking about this before because the only reason they pivoted from Kang was because of the major shit, right? Like, the major shit and the fact that the movies
domestic violence
doing bad.
It was
bad.
Yes, it was the beating, and also the fact that he sucked as a villain, or they made him suck as a villain.
Yeah.
Well, and he keeps saying that was a byproduct of Disney wanting more content instead of quality content.
Yeah. Well,
but when he continued on about, his contract being up, he says, do I want to be making big movies for big audiences in 10 or 15 years from now? Yes, that's all I want to do. And Marvel is a great way to do that. So his contract is up in 2 years. And we've talked about how the MCU is struggling. So he doesn't have a lot of time to turn it around before Bob might say, sorry, we're going to get somebody else. But what I thought was interesting, what he talks about the Fantastic Four not being in the original, the first saga, the Infinity Saga. I didn't really take that into account because I've been a staunch line defender of these characters, Iron Man, Captain America, and all these guys. They can't make new movies and leave these guys out. I never even really considered that the Fantastic Four weren't in those movies because, I like the Fantastic Four, but they're not my favorite. So didn't pay attention as much, but him saying like us not having him was a bad idea, or it was tragic that we weren't able to do it. Now we can.
Yeah.
And then we're going to reboot and recast, because he's talking about X-Men being where they really recast everybody, including Iron Man and Captain America. So.
Well, he didn't say those characters specifically. He said the X-Men specifically, but I know you think that they have to, in order to successfully reboot the franchise, they have no choice but to recast Tony and stuff. Obviously, they've teed up a world where it works with variants and all that stuff, so you could get away with just a different looking person who's the same character. But I feel like we're still very close to those characters being influential, unless they just give them a boatload of money to actually come back and like just be the characters again. That would be a better thing in my book, to be honest. You know, I know.
I don't know. It's just that for me, like it's these other characters. These other characters have good stories, but
no, I agree. You
people want to see the big characters.
I get you.
We got 3 Iron Man movies and 2.5 Captain America movies in the entirety of the MCU, and nobody really wants to see an Iron Heart movie.
Yeah, I agree.
Or a Miss Marvel movie. People want to see another Captain America movie or another Iron Man movie. So you got to bring them back.
What they should do. Truthfully, if I was in charge, my strategy would be to make your movies about the heavy hitters, the A-listers, and your shows about the lesser known D-listers, like Miss Marvel and all that stuff. So
we talked about that too.
Yeah, and that's how you introduce these characters to the audience and say, hey, like, we got this other character over here on Disney Plus. Her name's Ms. Marvel, Kamala Khan. If you want to get to know her, go watch her show. It's really good. But if not, don't worry about it because it's not like super tied into this other stuff that's going on. She's just part of the world. And maybe they could be crossover and this, that, and the other thing. But like that would be the proper way to do it. Don't try to like force feed us characters that nobody cares about. And I'm not trying to say that in like a fucking, you know, drunken fucking dipshit fucking way. That guy, what the fuck is his name? I can't remember his name. Critical Drinker. Of that ilk of like, oh, it's a fucking woman and she sucks and you're forcing it down our throats. No, like these are just characters that don't carry as much weight as your heavy hitters. It's just that's the fact of storytelling.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, people don't want to see in DC similarly, like if James Gunn tries to make a fucking Nightwing movie, people are gonna be like, what? Well, just give us fucking Batman, bro. Save Nightwing for later on. No, Nightwing is popular. That was a bad example. But you know what I mean? He's not an A-lister is what I'm trying to say.
Sure. Yeah. I agree.
I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, he was talking about the shows. I posted this in the Discord. He talked about wanting to go back to like Agent Carter, where it's in the universe, but it does not really attach to the universe. Or even Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., where it started in the universe, but quickly derailed from it. Now, you say it didn't start. It did start in the universe because it was directly related to a movie. You didn't have to watch the show, but if you watched the show before the second Avengers movie, you understood why the Avengers, because the Avengers 2 movie, they started out in the forest trying to find the twins. You know, that was like a kind of like the Superman start where they came out of nowhere. But if you watch the show, you knew. And there was minimal crossover, like even in season 4 or 5, like Lady Sif shows up a couple of times in the show, but minimal crossover still in the universe. And he wants to go back to that. So that's good news.
Yeah, I agree.
For the shows, you don't have to do your homework.
If it were me, if it were me, I'd get down on my hands and knees begging with a briefcase full of money to Robert Downey Jr., Chris Evans, be like, hey, do you want to reprise your roles as these characters? For a long time, this is the last I'll say about it, I was of the argument that like, if you bring Tony back, it's going to like minimize his sacrifice in Endgame. If you bring Chris Evans back, it's going to minimize like him getting to catch a break finally as Cap and stuff like that. But now that like, I think Superman
if you bring him back, what do you do with Anthony Mackie's character? You know,
you could have 2 Captain Americas. Who cares?
Huh?
Or just make Chris Evans play fucking Nomad or whatever, one of the other variant. You know what I mean? Like, I think Superman, another thing that it did besides make me cry constantly was I think it recalibrated my brain and hopefully recalibrated a lot of audiences' brains as to what a comic book movie could be, right? We keep praising it as like a very comic book movie, a very comic booky movie, and that's great and that's fine and dandy if you have a history of reading comic books because you're used to the structure and stuff like that. But it was bold enough and successful, so it proved to work, that it broke away from this structure of comic book movies for the last 10, 15 years or so. So maybe Marvel could now copy that structure and say, hey guys, this is a fucking comic book. Comic books revive characters all the time. Tony Stark doesn't have to be permadead for what he did to have meaning. You know what I mean? He still sacrificed himself. He still made the conscious decision to take a father away from his child, take a husband away from his wife, remove himself from that joy to save the fucking universe. He made the conscious decision to do it. So if you bring him back, I don't think that
slap in the face.
Do you agree with me, Marvin, or no?
Yeah.
I don't think
they need to bring him back. No.
No, but do you think that would minimize his sacrifice? I don't think it would.
You're saying if they bring him back, you don't think it would minimize his sacrifice?
No, because he still made the conscious decision to do it.
I don't know.
Like if you jump in front of a car to save a squirrel, for instance, right?
Yeah.
You're still heroic even if you didn't die doing it. You still did the thing that put you in grave danger.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
It's kind of what I'm saying.
Well, you're still heroic if you died and somehow miraculously came back to life.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. 100%.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is, instead of trying to recast, I think they would have I think audiences will have a harder time. It'll be a harder pill to swallow for general audiences if they try to recast Tony Stark with a different actor. If they try to recast Steve Rogers with a different actor, rather than just trying to bring those guys back to play the same role. Can they do it? Will they convince them to do it? I don't know. Maybe they don't want to. That's a different story.
Then you also have the example of they just killed off a character because the actor died. Like T'Challa, they didn't really get a good ending in the MCU because the actor died, and so bringing him back would probably, I don't know, I feel like would be a good choice.
I think we all agree that they should have recast him, but they decided, technically they did recast him, it's just T'Challa's son. They went from T'Challa to T'Challa Jr., which is in essence recasting him because they're just going to keep calling him T'Challa. So it's like that, but that also muddies the waters. Like, just fucking suck it up and recast him. Like, okay, like it sucks, but like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Well, this is the problem that comics have had forever, and this is why they can kill off characters and then bring them back. Is
got
because
a new artist. Yeah,
you don't get, but you don't. You also you want sometimes for your hero to make the ultimate sacrifice in a story to have the impact on the reader, and then you're like, okay, well, we killed him off. What do we do now? We can't. And sometimes they'll leave him dead for a long time. Sometimes they'll bring him back a week later. It's hard to say, but it's been done in comics forever. So
exactly.
That's why I feel they're going to do it in the movies.
That's the argument I'm making.
Probably will.
I think, I think Superman was bold enough to make the choice of being just a straight up comic book movie that we could now introduce all the rule sets of comic books into movies. You don't have to follow traditional film structure anymore. Right. I don't think. Hopefully, I hope that's how Superman recalibrated.
Not every superhero movie needs to be grounded, and once they're dead, they're dead.
Exactly.
And then the last thing that Feige said, which is interesting to me, because the last thing I don't think we talked about it. Maybe I posted it in the Discord, but somebody was talking about how the scale of the new Spider-Man Brand New Day was going to be grandiose and next level compared to anything that was else. And I was like, okay, well, this isn't your street level Spider-Man. Rip. But Kevin Feige is playing contrary to that narrative. He said he's going to be a street level crime fighter in Brand New Day.
Really?
Quote, as sad as it is that Peter is forgotten by everyone in his life, we are seeing for the first time him being a proper Spider-Man, him being by himself, dedicated to saving the city as opposed to world-ending events.
Okay, but he also said in the same conversation, he was asked very explicitly and directly, does the black fucking void of depressive nothingness that enveloped Manhattan in Thunderbolts in any way spill over to influence Spider-Man, or I think Daredevil maybe is what was asked, and he was just like, no, it has nothing to do with it. Nothing, it doesn't cross over whatsoever. So it's like, you got to pick a lane.
People
here,
were relating that Daredevil Born Again season 2, or
That's the thing. That's the issue that you're gonna have to come to terms with. And now, again, I don't mean to glaze, but James Gunn is seemingly planning this all out very well. Like, he's planning out these things that will become speed bumps. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, Spider-Man existing in Manhattan would have 100%
right.
have showed up in Thunderbolts to help them do whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
He would have 100% showed up to help Daredevil at the end of Born Again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he's way more connected to like the area. Like he's just there.
In the old shows that they had that weren't technically canon or connected, Agent Carter and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., they would always reference things that happened in the movies. They didn't necessarily have to address it in a way that made sense, but they were like, the big event in New York or whatever, ever since the New York event.
Yeah. They called it the what do they call it? And because in the first season of Daredevil, they kept bringing up the attack on New York and Avengers, the first event. I can't remember what they called it. But okay. But yeah, like, I don't know, you're going to run into some issues where it's like, well, where the fuck was Spider-Man if he's just being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man? You think he's not going to step up to the plate when the city's descending into chaos for the fucking 50th time? Like, it's just hard to say. And it seems like James Gunn is like actually preparing in advance for how these things all sort of like interplay and interconnect with one another. And I don't mean interconnect in terms of like direct connection. This happens and then this happens and then this happens. I just mean like, if a problem happens, let's say a big fucking event happens in like another movie, chances are Superman's going to show up to help because he's fucking Superman, unless he's got something else going on.
So, yeah. Well, I mean, we talked about that a little bit, or at least I did, with the second Spider-Man movie, where Jake Gyllenhaal's character is like doing all kinds of crazy stuff, and Spider-Man's the only one there. Like, we have the Avengers, and we have everybody else. Everybody's too busy to show up to a world-ending event in a solo movie.
Oh, in Italy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. No, I agree with you. 100%.
Yeah.
So they got to make a choice. Like, do we want to have all these characters that play together, or do we want to make solo films? Like, I don't know. You got to figure it out. Because it's getting to be a little stupid, I think. I mean, I get it. It's movies. You got to pay fucking $100 billion to have Tom Holland show up for 2 minutes in a fucking movie. I get it. But at least do some sort of explaining. You can't say he's a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man and then be like, nah, he wasn't there in Thunderbolts and we're never going to talk about why. Like, it's just weird. Anyway.
Yeah, it is. All right. Well, we got the whip wielded by Harrison Ford. This is the one in The Last Crusade where you see how he gets the whip. He wields it in all the movies. It's part of his accoutrement.
Do you know what's funny?
But,
real quick,
go ahead.
You know, I said that I watched like all 5 of them within the last like 2 weeks or so. He doesn't even use the whip in Crystal Skull. I realized he uses it like one time.
Notice
it was either Crystal Skull or the last one. I can't remember, but in one of those two, I'm pretty sure it's Crystal Skull because that's the most recent one I watched. I don't even think he like takes it out. I was like, what the fuck is this egregious bullshit? But anyway.
Yeah. Well, the whip he wielded in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade once belonged to Princess Diana.
Oh, wow.
It was sold at auction for $525,000. Apparently, Ford gave it to then Prince Charles at the film's UK premiere. It was given as gift then to Princess Diana, who gave it to the current owner, unidentified. The buyer was also not identified, so we don't know who sold it and who bought it, but we know they paid $500,000 to have it. And we got a quote here. The bullwhip is the iconic symbol of an iconic character of cinema history, Indiana Jones, and has been a highlight of this auction. That was from the Heritage Executive to the Associated Press. So yeah, Indiana Jones whip just sold for $500,000, Marvin.
Crazy.
Can we talk about how you always manage to find a relevant story to the movie that we're watching? I don't think people
impressive.
Like folks at home, like, I don't think you understand. Like, Dusty has this thing, like, he did it a couple times just because, and then it became a thing. Like, the last news piece is a segue into the movie, but it's always relevant. Like, this isn't like from a year ago or 2 years ago.
Yeah, it's timely. Yeah,
this is fucking like, it's 3 days ago. Like, how does this even happen?
It's just luck.
He's plugged into the fucking
he's
the universe,
the fucking Matrix. That shit's crazy. Oh, it's raining again, guys. Cool. Yeah, it's just fucking constantly raining in fucking New York.
Tropical storms.
Just rain forever.
Flash flooding.
Well, that's cool. The crazier, even crazier, Citizen Kane's Rosebud sled sold for $14 fucking million. That's insane.
Yeah, that was pretty insane.
Marvin, you ever seen Citizen Kane, Lamau?
Nope.
Yeah. Whew. All right. Well, that's cool. Thank you for the news once again, Dusty. Appreciate you.
My pleasure.
And you better appreciate them too, folks. These segues don't come easy. Well, apparently they do. All right. Well, let's get into today's review. Marvin,
the older movies are hard. I'll tell you that much. Like,
I bet
when we're talking about like Superman, a Superman segue is easy because Superman's out and there's news about it everywhere. But a movie that's been out for 30 years, where it is a little bit more difficult sometimes to get lucky, though.
Well, folks, Marvin over here hasn't seen a goddamn thing. So Dusty and I pick a movie once a month. We alternate. We make him watch something that we think he should have seen, and he has never has. This week or this month was Raiders of the Lost Ark. Yeah, unbelievable. We're all surprised. So we don't know.
Egregious.
Raiders of the Lost Ark is considered one of the greatest movies of all time. But when you strip away the nostalgia, you see things a little bit differently, I think. The story's loose. The character arcs are a little thin, and some of it hasn't really aged all that well. So does Raiders still work in 2025? And if it does, is it because of sort of what's on the screen, or is it because what we bring into it with our preconceived nostalgia bias? It's Marvin's first time watching it, so let's see what he thinks without any of those nostalgia goggles. Of course, this is an action adventure movie. It set the stage for everything that has come after. Tomb Raider, Uncharted, fucking
National Treasure,
like you name it. Like this is the foundational element for all those movies. It was, of course, directed by Steven Spielberg. He considers it the GOAT, arguably, yeah. He considers it his greatest movie ever that he's ever made because there was not one thing he wanted to change about it after he made it. It was originally conceived by George Lucas, but George Lucas didn't end up making the movie because he went on to make Star Wars instead. And it was written by Lawrence Kasdan, who, after this movie, this propelled him to go on to become one of the most sought-after writers in all of Hollywood. Of course, starring Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and Karen Allen as Marion, who is a reoccurring character in the series. So this particular story, we see Indy. He's kind of a grave robber. Let's just face it. Explorer. He's a professor of archaeology, and
he's a tomb raider.
He's a tomb raider, yeah. And he goes out and he gets treasures to put up in the museum that is funded, or the museum funds the college, or vice versa. I can't really remember. It doesn't matter. But he goes and gets these relics for the university. This movie pits him up against rival archaeologist. What's the character's name?
Belloc.
Played by Paul Freeman. And Belloc has aligned himself with fucking Nazis. Always fucking Nazis that Indiana Jones has to go up against. And they're after the Ark of the Covenant, the fabled Christian religious vessel that Moses carried the 10 Commandments down from the Mount, whatever the fuck, to his people. And yeah, that's pretty much the movie. So, Marvin, what'd you think? First time watching it. Hit us. You hated it, right?
No, I didn't hate it. I thought it was pretty good. I definitely enjoyed it for the most part. There were some things that I had some complaints about.
You got some Dusty complaints?
No, not anything like that. Like, obviously the score was amazing.
It's John Williams, baby, the GOAT.
Yeah, exactly. I thought the practical effects and the stunts were good to see, although the fight scenes were pretty bad. But I think I'm pretty spoiled in that regard with the next level choreography that we see nowadays with fights and stuff like that. The pacing was good, but the extra 30 minutes for like the big reveal in the island scene, it was actually a little jarring, even though I know it was very necessary. Always
like the
good
whole thing, or like the lead up to the whole like cataclysm that happens?
Just the part where you think the movie's about to end and it doesn't end. It's like, oh well, there's more here.
Okay.
Always good to see some Nazis get eviscerated though. So
Always good.
that's good. Yeah. The Boulder scene was iconic. She actually got to ride the coaster version.
Really?
When she was a kid. So she was telling me about it while I was watching it. She didn't watch it that much. She was kind of doing other stuff and we're watching it.
Okay.
Now, yeah, it was cool though.
I was curious because obviously I framed the conversation. Is it does it still hold up? I think it does. I don't think it does for the most part, for the reasons that a lot of people might think. I have a little bit of a twist to throw in there, but I'm curious what you brought to the table. Obviously, when you watch a movie like this, there is a cultural weight to it. Everybody knows Indiana Jones, even you do, even though you haven't seen it. You know Indiana 100%. Jones, you know the music, you know the fucking fedora, you know the whip. Yeah. I mean, Jesus, the whip is even the sound in Civilization 6 when you click on the archaeologist. You hear the when you activate the unit. That's so funny. So it's iconic. Like, it's ingrained into human culture. So it's hard to not bring anything into it. So did you have any pre-existing ideas of what it was or anything like that?
Not really. I didn't expect it to be as like, what's the word?
Cheesy?
It's like cheesy, like comic book-y. Like very kind of like wacky, like when he just straight up shoots the guy with the sword.
Oh, that's
like,
one of the best
don't bring a
scenes.
knife to a gunfight. That shit was
just
funny.
like doing all these fucking pirouettes and shit. And he just pulls out the gun and shoots him.
That shit was hilarious.
There was actually improvised scene. He was supposed to get into a fight with a guy, and Harrison's like, "I've got a gun. Why don't I just pull out my gun and shoot him?" Yeah. And they're like, "Oh yeah, that works." And that's what made the scene, and it was iconic now.
That was good. That was good.
Dusty, hit us. What are your overall thoughts?
This is high fantasy. I could make a million Dusty complaints if I wanted to, but it's high fantasy. This is a movie I feel like that it doesn't take itself seriously, and you see that throughout. It's almost so ridiculous, and it's fun, and this is what you got in the action adventure movies back in the day. The ridiculousness of everything. That you don't like nowadays. Everybody wants to make these grounded movies in reality, but then they also want to like throw something ridiculous at you. You're like, well, that wouldn't actually happen. With this, it feels like you just have these characters doing these things, and sure, there's some reality to it, I guess, but it's just a fun. This was a fun action movie, and it feels like when you're watching it, and I watched all three. It feels like you're almost watching people walk through like haunted houses or go on roller coaster rides and stuff. And that was kind of like the funness of it, is like, oh, I could totally see like that's crazy experience. So that's why I love this movie. Yeah.
George Lucas has a quote or something, I'm paraphrasing, but he talks about how at some point he realized audiences really respond to the roller coaster ride of a movie. He got that idea from Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, because this movie does feel like a theme park ride. Like, it takes you on that thing. It's kind of why I criticize, guys who talk shit about the Marvel movies. Like, they're obviously different, or comic book movies. They're obviously structured differently, but like Martin Scorsese's like, oh, these are cotton candy movies. Like, I get what he's saying, but also it's a weird criticism because you act like those movies never existed in the past.
Right.
Correct.
Obviously, they are the more popular thing to do, but that's not the movie's fault. It's not the genre's fault. That's the corporation's fault for trying to just make an easy buck with what's popular, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so this movie is a really great bridge. It's probably the greatest example of the bridge between old Hollywood and new Hollywood at the time, because the inspiration for this, it was supposed to pay homage to the serials of like the 30s and 40s of these like high action serial films and shows. And when I say serial, I mean they were serialized like a comic strip, like this week Indiana Jones is doing this thing, this week Indiana Jones is doing that thing, and that's exactly how the movies play out when they make the sequels. So this was very much meant to sort of like pay homage to those things, and they are it was very inspired by that. But this is also like a good genre mashup. It's a mix of like action and adventure and romance, and like there's horror in it, you know.
Yeah, there's
rated PG stuff. By the way.
Yeah, rated PG. I think this was also the inspiration for the G rating or something like that with general audiences.
Oh yeah. Was
it? Because at the time this movie was directed, people had said like this was like a very adult themed adventure movie, but also made for kids. Like it was like Spielberg was able to like really hit this like dual structure where it's great for both audiences. Like who never saw, besides Marvin, Indiana Jones as a kid? Like that's when I first saw it. Like it has adult themes, but it's also great for children. I don't know. I mean, there's some scary parts to it, maybe. Like I remember the scene in the beginning where what's his name, you know, tries to fuck him with the idol, and then you see him like a few
people's
frames
heads
down the road.
exploding and skin melting off. I mean, it's.
Oh well,
that was actually crazy.
That's a scene that has stuck with me my whole fucking life. Like
that was so funny
of him just melting and screaming in agony.
Yeah. That's some really clever stuff. Like the Nazi general guy when he grabs the pendant when it's like flaming hot. It imprints the text into his hand, and he's like, you know.
Yeah, he has that crazy scream. That guy's a screamer. He screams a lot.
Yeah, there's some really. When I was watching that, I was thinking about that too, Marv. There's some really clever writing back then, I think. I don't know if you still get it sometimes now, but like the puzzle solving or the thought that goes into like, how do we say like, oh, there's just a map room. We go into the map room and there's a bunch of holes in the floor everywhere. Then you have to have the staff, but it has to be the right height. And like they were really like brainstorming this shit in the writer's room, and it was smart and clever. And sometimes it feels like the protagonist almost stumbles into it in modern day movies where they don't necessarily have to like have a log book where they've been researching it for 30 years to know what's going on. It's like, oh, what if I push this button? Oh, look, now we're in. So very, very witty, clever writing there for that kind of stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
So, you know, you're bringing up writing. I said earlier, like, I think when people look back on it, it's obviously considered one of the greatest movies of all time, but I don't know if it really earns that because of the reasons people think. Like, it's not a perfect movie at all by any stretch. Like, talking about the writing, the plot like is very, very thin. Like, it's not anything crazy. It's just like Nazis want this thing, he wants this thing, they go after thing, and they fight periodically throughout. Indiana Jones, the character, he was modeled after, you know, actors like Humphrey Bogart and Flynn, like, you know, tough, stoic, and like kind of like funny and stuff like that. But because of Harrison Ford's charisma, it sort of transformed that archetype of that character. But there's no real like introspective writing for him. You don't even know anything really about him other than that he's a teacher and a fucking archaeologist. Like, that's it. You get a brief sort of hint at the fact that he's maybe a womanizer a little bit. And not so much a womanizer, just like that's like not his priority is to like fall in love and whatnot. So he's like a heartbreaker. She obviously fell in love with him when she was younger, and he obviously, you know, had sex with her and then just fucked off onto his next adventure or whatever.
Right.
The James Bond type. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but like beyond that, you don't really learn much about him. So the movie as like a structured movie, and this is why I compared it to Superman or compared Superman to it, is that in a similar fashion, you're just kind of dropped into the middle of this guy's life. Like there's no real exposition or learning about him or anything like that. And you don't really need it. The movie obviously works by the end of it. Like you know the character, you get what his deal is. It's fine.
Yeah. I do actually have a hot take, I think, about
hit me.
Harrison Ford.
Don't say it, Marvin, please.
I actually think other people can play Indy.
Okay,
yeah,
we did.
To me, it's not the same as Ash from Evil Dead, for instance, another irreplaceable person we talk about.
Now,
I feel like Indiana Jones is like James Bond. Like, just find the right dude and run it. Like, Harrison Ford is replaceable. To quote my girl Beyonce, to to the left, to the left.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I mean, there are
show's
some
canceled.
You're like, they said, yeah, how are you going to replace Sean Connery after Sean Connery was James Bond? It's a valid point. We've had, and you've got like Batman.
That's fair.
We had one of the greatest Batman performances ever. How are you going to top that? Well, they don't know that they topped it, but they've replaced it.
Right.
So, it's hit or miss. You just have to find the right person. Although Harrison Ford did say, when I die, Indiana Jones dies. And that's why Chris Pratt, we reiterated this. Chris Pratt said he'd never do the movie because Harrison Ford said that. But I think eventually they'll try and milk it. They might give it a little bit of time, before they try and cash in on it. But
yeah.
Well, my only pushback against that, Marvin, I get where you're coming from, and I don't totally disagree. However, if it's any consolation, Steven Spielberg said that it was specifically because of hiring. He credits saving the film to hiring Harrison Ford and what Harrison Ford brought to the role, that like his charisma and whatever. Obviously, Harrison Ford went on to become a legend. Not really because of. I mean, it is. I wouldn't say it's equally.
Well, this was after Star Wars,
right? But I think this movie is what really propelled his career. It was after this that he went on to do Blade Runner and all these other things. Not to diminish the cultural impact of Han Solo as a character, but I think Indiana Jones is more his like main credit.
I mean, he went from supporting actor to lead, so he definitely showed his chops for sure.
Listen, at the end of the day, anybody could play any role if they're good enough. You know what I mean? It's just it's not a matter of like who could play it. It's a matter of
should you do it?
Should you do it? Exactly. I think
Ian Malcolm.
Yeah, Ian Malcolm. Exactly. Because to be honest with you, we've gotten 2 sequels recently within the last 20 years to these movies with Harrison Ford that were not good.
Right. Exactly.
So the chances of doing it without Harrison Ford are even worse, I would say.
That's fair.
That's my take. But I do like that hot take, Marvin. That is a good hot take, and it is, it's fair. It's a fair take. But the reason that this movie I think still works today, despite it having maybe a weak plot or simple plot, not weak, some weaker characterizations and stuff like that, is because of the work of Steven Spielberg. And it has a very, again, why I think Superman was heavily inspired by this, probably, if you ask James Gunn, at least somewhere in his subconscious, it probably was, is because this movie just has near constant momentum. There's very few quiet or contemplative scenes. There's very few scenes of just sort of rest for these people. It's just going. This set piece to set piece. There's the temple escape, the truck chase, the flying wing fight. He's jumping on the plane. It's uses visual storytelling very heavily, as opposed to like deeper narrative and exposition and stuff like that. And so I think that's why it still works today. I think if you didn't really there are movies that are not this kinetic, I feel like, that came back out at the time, and you watch them now and it's like a little boring, maybe. And like you said, you even found this a little boring, and this is not boring, but you found this a little bit like, what's the word I'm looking for? Dated, kind of, as kind of what I gathered from your take on it, right?
Yeah, a little bit. Not really so much. It was more so just some of the fight scenes and stuff that I found dated. I thought the practical effects were good.
Yeah.
I thought the plot was fine.
Okay.
Yeah, no,
it's not bad. But I mean, simple compared to like today's standards, I guess, is what I mean. But it's a very Steven Spielberg kind of thing, especially from back then. And again, that like stitched together narrative is just like, oh, okay, now we're here. Oh, now we're here. All right, now we're at the temple. Now we're at the thing. Now we're fighting snakes. Now we're doing this. So, but that's why I think it still holds up. I think it's a very energetic movie that anybody could like sit down at any age, at any point in time, and watch it and kind of enjoy it on some level. You could totally,
for sure.
yeah.
You get that adventurous like scene change too, though, when he goes from place to place. You've seen it done dozens of times. I don't know if it's ever been done before, but rather than just cut to a new scene and put the name of the place on the bottom, like now we're in Luxembourg. You see the plane in the map, and it's like, line to line of, okay, cool. We were here, now we're here. And you know that because you just watched that happen.
Right. I agree with that. There's some fan theories, too, out there that it's interesting. Not something I ever thought of about Indiana Jones, like his actual, I guess, impact on the plot of the movie, in that the Ark probably would have been found anyway by the Nazis at some, like, eventually they would have found it. Because
for sure. Because that's what I was saying earlier. The Nazi general guy that screams when they burned the when the pendant burned him, the side that they were missing was burned into his hand. So they had the instructions.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's smart in that way. Trying to think of what else. Obviously, I'm sure you could see its influence on like every fucking adventure thing ever after.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It set the, like, even what was the dog shit movie we just watched recently?
Found of Youth.
You could see structurally it's like almost the exact same movie.
Yeah.
I wanted to bring that up because like when they open the Ark and you see that stuff coming out, like the graphics back then to pull that off versus what we saw in the Fountain of Youth when he gets lifted up in the end, they looked identical.
Yep.
Yeah,
and like
really
ability to make computer images. And it was just, I laughed at that because like, holy shit, Fountain of Youth is really that bad because this was 30 years old.
But yeah, I mean, it definitely is the blueprint. It has multiple sequels, Marvin. I'd be interested. I mean, do you feel like you walked away from as a fan of the series? Like, would you watch the other ones now just to kind of see, or you kind of just got your fill? Like, do you care or not really?
I would watch them. I'm not like fiending to watch them or anything. Like,
well, let me ask you this question. For a lot of fans, this is like the go-to. If you're in the mood for like an adventure movie, you watch Indiana Jones. Do you feel like you're in that camp now?
I think so.
Do you feel you would rewatch this movie? Because that's another measure we use a lot. Like, would you rewatch it?
Would I rewatch this? I could throw it on. It's not so deep. It's really not.
No,
like,
it's not.
Yeah. It's not so deep or anything where I would have to rewatch it. So I could definitely put it back on and watch it again. But
okay. Well,
I don't have like a craving to rewatch it necessarily.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't have a big rewatchability itch for this one. It's a gray one, and every now and again when I haven't seen it for a long time, I'll put it on and enjoy it. But I still think like 3 for me is the more rewatchable Indiana Jones.
Okay.
I like the third one more than Raiders for sure. But you don't get that without Raiders, obviously. So
right.
But whenever I usually watch them, the 3 of them, like once a year, I would say, because I do love them. And I love me a good adventure, little action movie. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably get, another Indiana Jones some point in time, like some other actor, like it'll happen. I wouldn't be surprised if it's what's his name who just voiced him in the video games. Can't think of the voice actor's name, but yeah, legacy undeniable. It spawned sequels, countless sequels, spin-offs, comics, games, merchandise, influenced everything in the genre. Theme parks, fucking all sort of brands. Like, that's really what this movie became. Right. That's how you know it's above the rest. It's not just a movie; it's a brand at this point. It's like a full-on fucking brand. Really, I can't think of any other word. But the only other thing now, my last bit, criticism-wise, and obviously different time. One of the reasons why it might not hold up for modern audiences, especially Zoomers and the next younger generation who are much more socially conscious, and maybe for better or worse, they are more socially conscious. This movie is a little bit tone deaf when it comes to like the plundering of like sacred relics and like non-Western lands, right? It's like basically like Western culture just coming in and fucking, grave robbing, essentially.
I think you accept that though when you watch these treasure hunting movies in general, right? Like, something is being disturbed that shouldn't be usually, and that's just like a given. You can't really be surprised about something like that going into this.
Yeah, my counter to that, though, I'm countering myself, is that he does have he operates with a desire not for fame or wealth, but
it's to preserve the history.
Yes, exactly. So that's what
which we see at the end.
You get that dynamic in this movie because the Nazis are obviously after it for greed and power.
Right.
Where in Indiana, while he is a Tomb Raider, he's doing it to protect it from actual Tomb Raiders and to preserve the history so that others can understand it and learn about it.
Yeah.
Which is a good story in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And we see that at the end when the United States gets their hands on it and then
in the warehouse
are studying it.
Top men, Marvin. Top men.
Yeah.
It makes a comeback in Crystal Skull. You get a little glimpse of that arc.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the other thing, but this is like, you can't blame the movie for this. It came out in the fucking 70s. Like, the portrayal of Middle Eastern and like Asian characters is a little bit outdated by today's standards. It's
the
like
Sultan type.
Yeah, it's like early Hollywood tropes. And if you think this is bad,
so funny.
You should see
saber. The guy with the saber, the one he shot. Really, that's like the perfect. It's like Aladdin.
Well, it works because this takes place in the 30s, so it's like. Yeah,
that's true. Yeah,
it was limited. It was still like early technology in terms of like, they fought with swords in World War I, like bayonets and shit. But you think this is bad? You should see Temple of Doom. The way they depict like Indian people is fucking crazy. They're eating like monkey brains and shit. It's like it's wild. So a little cultural murkiness, but whatever.
They're good in my book. When they were flying on the plane, they showed the map of Palestine, and it actually said Palestine.
Bro, there was such... I actually saw... I sent it to you guys. Did I send it to you guys? When I was rewatching them, because I didn't watch it yesterday or today to talk about it, because I had just watched it like literally a week and a half ago or whatever. But right around the time when I was watching it, coincidentally, I saw a meme on Twitter of that shot where it flies over Palestine, and then it cuts to that meme of Leo getting up out of his chair and going up, 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 and like
that's how it was. I literally ran it back. Had to show C, like, damn, did you see that? Look how big it was.
Yeah,
it was before the war.
That's funny.
Yeah.
During
the war,
so overall, you liked it, Marvin, huh? Any final takeaways?
Final takeaways. No, I thought the ending was spot on with like you guys said, preserving history versus government using it for bad.
So
it's like stereotypical, but it's like accurate in this case.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I asked the question, does Raiders of the Lost Ark hold up if you've never been told it's great before? Like, you are the one who you don't have any of the nostalgia bias. So what do you think? You think it does? Okay. So you don't think,
for sure.
You don't think the legacy, do you think the legacy of the movie is shaped by its own, by the movie's own like value, like its own characteristics, or you think it's like mostly like nostalgia shit?
Would
you recommend it to somebody who has never seen it?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Cool.
I don't think it's the greatest thing, since sliced bread, but
okay,
I think it's pretty good.
That's fair. That is fair. I'm glad you liked it. Glad Nazis die in most of Indiana Jones movies, because fuck Nazis. Yeah, and as well, it's got a 8.4 on IMDb, and I would give
the third one. He's all Nazis.
Yeah,
I hate these guys.
I hate Nazis. 8.4 on IMDb. I'm right around there. I'd give it a 9 for sure.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like it's like an 8.5. Yeah.
Okay.
It's right there.
It's an 8.5 for me too. It's right there.
Dusty, real quick, which one do you prefer? I said flat out, like I'm more of a fan of The Last Crusade?
I think they're both great. I would rate. I give this one an 8.5 because I would probably give The Last Crusade a 9 if I were to rate it. Because the rewatchability for me, it's Sean Connery and Harrison Ford fighting Nazis, and it's just amazing. It feels like Steven found his stride in the Indiana Jones movies and just made a really good one with The Last Crusade. So
okay,
nice. I'm gonna watch that. Do I need to watch the second one?
No, the second one is actually a prequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh. Okay.
The second one takes place.
You do get our boy Ki-Hee Kwan though as a child.
Ooh,
yes.
Around.
Damn.
You do get him in Temple of Doom is a great movie. It's not bad by any stretch. It's a little bit. Temple of Doom is outwardly more outlandish than the other two.
It's got a lot of fear factor kind of stuff in it too, like the all kinds of bugs and the weird stuff. Like that's where these movies feel like theme parks or haunted mansions or fear factor. They're just trying to get a reaction out of you.
Temple of Doom is way more outlandish for sure. Like it's a little bit more silly, maybe a little more slapstick in a way. Still very good. But it's a prequel, so know that going in. And then, but The Last Crusade takes place after. It is a sequel to Raiders, and I think it's very good. So do with that what you will. Big takeaway: Marvin thinks Harrison Ford is overrated. Let us know what you guys think. Leave a comment down below. There's our thought. I'm just kidding, obviously. Leave a comment down below. Leave your thoughts on Raiders of the Lost Ark. Is there anything about this movie that we missed that you think makes this movie great and gives it this lasting legacy? Do you disagree with us? Do you not think it holds up today? Tell us all of it. We read our comments, we respond. And we do this once a week, folks. So we post our schedule, our watch schedule in our Discord. It's free to join. But if you want to follow along with us and watch movies along with us each week, join the Discord. You can find the link down below at our website, harshlanguage.tv. What else am I supposed to say? Leave a like on the video if you've liked it. Leave a comment. Subscribe if you have not done so already. We're marching towards 800 subscribers, so we'd love to have you on board.
Close.
Part of the subscriber camp. So consider doing that for us. But otherwise, we appreciate you hanging with us, and we will catch you next time.
See you.
Pasta.